Everyone. Here's out of my usual fare, but I thought it warranted mentioning. The RCMP are supposed to be, well, they're supposed to be good at their jobs, right? And so Gizmodo is reporting RCMP apologized after streaming press conference on double slaying with cat filter activated. Now, I just wanted to show you the picture. This Gizmodo had the picture, and the other news article I'm going to use didn't have the picture. So I just wanted you to see it, right? Yeah, ouch, professionalism. Here's City News reporting, and the title's mostly the same. From Surrey, E-Division is apologizing after an unfortunate incident during a live news conference where the RCMP were updating reporters about a double homicide that happened in northern BC earlier this week. Here's Sonia Aslam, says BC RCMP apologized. She's tweeting, BC RCMP apologizing for the cat filter, says it was not the result of an outside party, was an internal error, and the mistake has been fixed. Quote, our effort to be available via a social media platform did have technological challenges, which is a risk that can happen. During a live stream of their news conference, a cat filter was superimposed on their spokesperson, Sergeant Janelle Sowet, as she made a public appeal for information about the deaths of a man and woman whose bodies were found on the Alaska Highway. A screenshot of the live stream and the cat filter was quickly shared on Twitter, spurring a lot more shares. So I just think it's interesting. Yeah, technical mishaps happen. They do happen. And I mean, it could be as simple as somebody tapping the screen and not realizing it and going out and whatever. That happens, I suppose. But man, you would expect somebody to be checking. Like you would expect somebody to be looking at the stream because you can pretty much see, and you would expect them to have fixed it right away, right? It seems like an odd error, but I mean, technology is odd sometimes. So I'm not trying to give it a pass, but I'm trying to point it out and say, have a policy or a checklist or something. I don't know. Cat filter not enabled. Check. Okay, here is the Attorney General that took over for Jody Wilson-Raybould. That's Mr. Lemetti. And pundit class is tweeting, Trudeau's replacement Attorney General should be able to clearly say that winning an election is not an excuse to interfere in a criminal prosecution. But he won't say so. Trudeau must go, which I don't think he's a bot, and I'm not a bot. Election 43. Why not? Here he is. Let's listen.
The Attorney General in this case had made a decision. This wasn't consultation in advance of the decision. She's saying that she told people she thought the pressure was inappropriate, that she had made her decision, and that she was being pushed to change that decision. Some of the things she alleges were said include that any solution would require some kind of interference under the law, that the PMO didn't want to debate legalities anymore, and that there was an election. Are those reasons that you should have an Attorney General interfering in a criminal prosecution of a corruption trial?
Right. Again, I can't speak to what people said or how people felt because I wasn't part of that.
But if someone approached you and said an election is at stake, would that be a persuasive argument to you?
It depends on the context. The leading case from the UK...
Sorry, just to stop you there, but an election could be a reason for an Attorney General to interfere in a criminal prosecution, and that would be appropriate.
I'm not saying it would be appropriate or inappropriate.
I'm not saying anything at all. I'm just pointing out and muddying the waters and saying precedent in the UK is set and blah, 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 blah. And they try and go off the beaten path and walk you away from the point you're trying to make, which is an Attorney General should be able to say there are no circumstances in which an Attorney General should interfere in a criminal prosecution, least of all an election. And it's concerning that he won't say that. It's concerning, very concerning, really strange. Here is an iPolitics poll. It says nearly 47% of Canadians think the Trudeau government's carbon tax is not helpful to the country's economy, suggests new results from a Main Street research poll for iPolitics. I'm just touching on it. Link is in the description. I'm not going to go through it because polls are kind of mushy, right? Here's the other shoe to drop on this poll. However, the carbon tax is the only one of the major initiatives of the Trudeau government studied in a survey that a plurality of respondents thought wasn't beneficial to the economy. So people were talking about Trans Mountain, they were talking about other initiatives, the child care benefit, etc. So it's interesting, the public opinion on this with regard to people feeling like it's helpful versus not helpful, regardless of the reality of it. Because the reality of it is we have less money under Mr. Trudeau than we did under Mr. Harper. That's the reality. The tax rate went down, but all of the elimination of the credits that Mr. Harper was giving had added up equals less money in most people's pockets under Trudeau. So that's just a fact. That's true. Here is the last story for the first part of first video this morning. The youth all bodies swim. Okay, so I haven't touched on this, and again, this is less politics, this is more BC politics, I guess. This is a really big deal over there. The same person who got Lindsay Shepherd off Twitter, Jessica Yaniv, is trying or was trying to host this youth all bodies swim. And it doesn't say that here, nor does it say that on the Eventbrite. There's an Eventbrite. We're going to look at it in a minute. But I wanted you to see what was being advertised by this same person who was targeting for lawsuits against her human rights as a trans woman. She wanted to have her male genitals bikini waxed. And when, like, Brazilian waxed, right? So she was targeting foreign cosmeticians, and I've kind of touched on this earlier this week, in order to get them to do that. And when they declined, he said that's a violation of my human rights. And some of these people's businesses have had to fold. And at the same time as doing all of that, he's trying to organize this youth all bodies swim. And I'd heard this on Twitter, and I hadn't seen like the connection. I hadn't seen Jessica Yaniv's name connected to the all bodies swim. And so here it is, and then I'll show you the connection, and then I'll show you that it's canceled. Okay? But it's a very interesting thing to do with one's time, to target estheticians for Brazilian wax while simultaneously organizing a youth swim event. Here it is. Just join us for the first Langley Youth All Bodies Swim at Al Anderson Memorial Pool. About this event, join us for the first Langley Youth All Bodies Swim event for LGBTQ T2S+ and their allies. Swim details. Registration is open to youths 12 to 24. Doors open at 4 p.m. at the Al Anderson Memorial Pool. Event is free with registration. Please register by July 10th at 7 p.m. For participation, privacy, and safety, parents and or caregivers are not permitted in the event. They're not permitted, yes. There will be no in and out access. Once you've left the event, you may not re-enter. So don't leave, because if you leave, you can't come back. The swim dress code. Wear what makes you comfortable. Clothes must be clean and fresh, not the ones you wear to the event. Please do not wear denim or shoes in the pool. Anything below the waist must be covered. Please, does that mean like your lower calves? Everything below the waist, right? What? Anything below the waist must be covered. Please consider the comfort level of others. Gender inclusive change rooms and washrooms will be available. Now, she specifically said that females or anybody over 12 can go topless. Well, everybody's over 12 can go topless because that's under law in Canadian law, and that sparked an outcry. Here's the connection. Here's Jessica Yaniv's name connected to this, and this is LifeSite, and their headline says, "Man who identifies as female asks city to approve LGBT pool party for topless 12-year-olds, no parents." And here's the Town of Langley report, July 22nd, 2019. Jessica Yaniv, permission for LGBTQ2S+ organization to be allowed to host all bodies swim at TOL civic pools. And it lists them for people aged 12+, where the event will be restricted to LGBTQ2S, and individuals will be permitted to be topless at their leisure in compliance with the laws of Canada, and where parents and caregivers will be prohibited from attending these events as it's considered safe and inclusive. Really. And there it all is. And here is the event canceled. Here's the event canceled. Eventbrite, this event has been ended. This is the swim, and it says about this event. So it's supposed to be on the 14th of July. Right? Due to the community response, we feel that we can no longer offer a safe and comfortable environment for the youth that wish to attend the Youth All Bodies Swim, and therefore we will be postponing the event. This event was organized and supported by the City of Langley, the Langley Local Action Team, and Encompass Support Services Society as a safe, non-judgmental, and inclusive activity for youth. We would like to extend our gratitude and appreciation for the overwhelming positive support of the Youth All Bodies Swim. We are hopeful that we will be able to host this event in the near future. So this event was originally supposed to happen on the 14th, and presumably this was a request on the 22nd for another one, right? It's trying to do it again. So, and who knows, right? I don't know if they will permit it. I don't know if there will be a public outcry to end the event. Who knows? But it's an interesting coincidence that this Jessica Yaniv is simultaneously using human rights tribunals to force people to wax her male genitals, which is a strange thing to say, and simultaneously citing her event as safe and family inclusive or not inclusive, safe and inclusive, except if you're the parent or caregiver of the person attending the event, in which case, please don't come. You're not allowed. You're prohibited from attending. So that's weird as a caregiver to a youth, and she's not 12, but if she was and wanted to go, or my son was and wanted to go, I would say no. And the reason is that doesn't sound safe to me. It doesn't sound like a good choice by the organizers to not allow parents in. And the funny thing is, a lot of parents would feel comfortable dropping their kids off if parents were allowed in, which is a strange thing to prohibit, right? It's very strange. Anyway, time to get to the next video. Thanks for watching. Check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca and have a wonderful, wonderful